Barely hours after the ghastly attack on tourists in Pahalgam's picturesque Baisaran Valley on the afternoon of April 22, streets and highways in the Kashmir Valley wore a deserted look. After the news broke that 26 people, including two foreigners and a local resident, lost their lives in this incident, the valley turned into a ghost town. There was fear everywhere, panic, grief, and also tears. The incident shook the entire valley. Trade and religious bodies in Kashmir called for a complete day-long shutdown, vociferously deploring the killing of visitors.
Frontline is on the Highway 44, which connects Srinagar to Pahalgam. Pahalgam is roughly 98 to 100 kilometers from Srinagar, but this place, Baisaran Valley, also known as Mini Switzerland, where this horrific incident took place, is roughly 110 kilometers from the capital, Srinagar. It's a very tough terrain. It's usually used by the ponywalas, the horsemen. Mobile internet connectivity remains very limited. Now, this incident, how it impacts the India-Pakistan relations, that is the one dimension. The second is the geopolitical impact. And the third is on the local tourism industry in Kashmir and the entire normalcy narrative. So Frontline has spoken to many experts, geopolitical experts and regional experts and leading political commentators to know their views about how this incident impacts all three aspects: geopolitical, bilateral, and also the regional.
The attack also inflicted severe damage on the psyche of some tourists.
I came here for enjoying my holiday with family. So I thought that everything is good here. So we should be seeing that how Kashmir looks like. So it is a good place to visit. But the things happen that's not good for tourists, and that's not also good for Kashmir also, because it should not be done with the people, the tourists, civilians. Yeah, civilians, because they are coming here to celebrate their holiday. They are not part of any political thing or something. So that should not be.
What you have been hearing in the news for the last 3, 4, 5 years that everything is normal in Kashmir post abrogation.
Yeah. So I thought that everything is fine here. And once I visited here, I got that feel also. I was in Gulmarg that time when I heard this news. So, but I don't know what the problem is still, but it's going to impact the tourism of Kashmir.
Major unionists in the valley offered unequivocal and unconditional condemnation of the Pahalgam attack.
We have an identity of being hospitable people, of being very welcoming for our guests. And they have smeared our tradition and our identity and disfigured it in a manner which makes it unrecognizable and perhaps even irretrievable. I believe that after the victims, the unfortunate people who came here to enjoy and they lost their lives, these terrorists have struck at the economic and social, the basic economic and social existence of the Kashmiris. Socially, we don't know what to do, that our soil, our land is being used for a heinous crime. And economically, tourism is our lifeline. Hospitality has been here for a century. This is what our future generations are going to do. In this all pall of gloom and darkness all around, the single shining light, if I would say, is the way the people of Kashmir have reacted. There's a total unanimity and exhibition of contempt and disdain for what has happened.
According to key defense experts, the suspected armed militants chose the non-motorable road and tough terrain in the forested area in Pahalgam because it provides cover, more opportunities and safety than hinterland.
Pahalgam was a massacre and it has rightly been condemned by all world leaders, including by China. Will this lead to an Indo-Pakistan war? No. But if India was to take an extreme step, Like what the reports say, walking out of the Indus Water Treaty, a war is not ruled out because there are three powerful factors which have converged since India revoked Article 370 and 35A. The first one is this constant narrative since August 2019 of India perpetrated by Indian television channel that Kashmir is normal. And this is what led to the tourists also going to Pahalgam. This is wrong. The reality is Kashmir is a war zone, and the evidence is that there is no thinning of army and security forces from Kashmir. Meanwhile, every Friday is under house arrest. He is not allowed to lead the prayers. Then 83,000 domicile certificates to change the demography of Kashmir have been issued to outsiders for permanent residency. Then there is a chief minister who has a mandate of 50 MLAs but looks more like an assistant to the lieutenant governor of the union territory. Now the second factor is General Asim Munir of Pakistan. We heard recently one of the most virulent and hate speeches by any top leader of Pakistan, which was given by Asim Munir. Asim Munir is under domestic pressure, under international pressure, and what he has done by that speech is he has rubbished the national security policy of Pakistan, which was unveiled in April 22, which spoke of peace in the region, which spoke about connectivity and development. And a man, when he is so much under pressure, he looks like a person who can go to any extent. And the third factor is China, a very powerful factor. China does not want war, but China is committed to supporting Pakistan's sovereignty since August 2019, and this China has said repeatedly publicly. What this means is that both in peacetime and war, Chinese huge non-kinetic capabilities will be available to the Pakistan military. As far as war is concerned, we know that today China and PLA and the Pakistan military, they have interoperability and they have interchangeability also. And recently the Pakistan Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal Zahir Babar was in China. He met up with the Chinese Defense Minister. Now he didn't go there for picnic. And one of the things which we saw in the statement was both the sides lauding the Shaheen exercises that the air forces have been doing since 2012. And this is a very powerful message for India if India is willing to take the message that a hot war will be a very dangerous option.
After 370 abrogation, the government has been consistently making a lot of claims about restoring peace in the valley and showcasing a high influx of tourists as a sign of normalcy. Now, those claims lay punctured with this attack. While promoting Kashmir as a safe tourist destination, the government has in fact left these unsuspecting visitors as made them vulnerable. They've turned them into sitting ducks by failing to provide the security infrastructure necessary to match their the needs of safety, and also inconsistent with their public declarations that everything is normal, there is peace in the valley, militancy has been decimated. This is an unprecedented attack in many ways. Tourists have not been attacked earlier. There were one or two incidents, but not at this scale. There have been attacks on pilgrims in the past, but attacking tourists has generally been unacceptable in Kashmir. Because tourism is an important economic lifeline of Kashmir. Also because it goes against the Kashmiri ethos of hospitality.
Globally, the deadly attack by suspected armed militants on tourists in Pahalgam has evoked widespread condemnation. On the regional front, the unionist camp is in disbelief.
I think it's an unfortunate incident and we strongly condemn this incident and we will call it bluntly a terror act, and it's an attack on innocent people, civilians, tourists, and this is an attack on all of us. This will cripple not just our economy but also cripple the peace process. and the stability in Jammu and Kashmir. So I think this attack is clearly an act of terror, and we are strongly condemning such act, which is it's a massacre against civilians, and it has created a lot of insecurity among people in Kashmir and outside. So I think there are no two other words to define this other than calling it a terrorist act.
So Wahid, Kashmir has a culture of hospitality. It has always warmly received tourists and visitors from outside. So do you also think that this is an attack on Kashmir's culture of hospitality?
I think yes, definitely it's an attack on whatever we represent and our hospitality. We are hospitable people, and this happening to our guests definitely puts a huge question on our hospitality, sense of security, so the protection we used to give traditionally to the people who come here. So I think in there's first time unanimously Kashmiris, irrespective of ideologies and other parties, are coming out strongly against such an act of violence.
Not refer it as an incident. It's quite a kind of a massacre, as we could see from the videos on ground. Initially, there was a news that only one tourist has been killed, but from the videos, it could be sensed that there were more than 20. Finally, the figures were revealed, however. It's beyond condemnation. The pictures, the horrific videos, it breaks heart. And then, we as Kashmiris should have been prepared for such kind of eventualities because we have been growing up with all of this. And there was some kind of narrative post 370 that everything is normal in Kashmir, things have settled, there is development. And as for now, the people of India and the people of the world has seen the narrative coming crashing down. For me, as somebody who has grown up in 90s, nothing much have changed except the roads and the footpaths. And for a place that's called a conflict zone, these things will never matter, and they never have. What matters is normalcy on ground. It's manufactured, it's for everybody to see. It's not a small incident. This incident is of huge repercussions. I think it has created ripples world over. But mere contaminations or some people coming for their own, publicity, that's another angle to it. But see, somebody has suffered. 28 people have lost their lives just because there was a narrative that everything is normal, which was not. So, first things for your narrative building, you have to be responsible for all these deaths because it's on the saying of the governments.
So who should take the responsibility?
I think as of now, the first responsibility lies with the government. Some kind of accountability because visiting from place to place, hospitals, but nobody is coming up with a press conference and saying, look, this was our fault. A security glitch for that matter. We have taken things for granted and this just blasted it. Nobody is coming forward doing that.
There was security complications.
Of course there is, of course. Then how would 28 people be killed with no security backup there? All these incidents point to one thing, that there has been no normalcy. Incidents have been happening, violence has been happening over this period of time all along. So what happened today is an exaggeration of these incidents because maybe we slept over them. So if you sleep over something, it blasts in your face. So it did. And we lost some precious lives. And that's the very unfortunate part of it. And for me, as a citizen, the government has to come up with an accountability. There has to be an answer to this massacre.
Some responsibility to be fixed?
Of course, why not? Why is not somebody coming up, the lieutenant governor or the home minister for that matter? They're going and visiting the victims, but nobody coming and saying, look, we're sorry, this happened because there were some serious security lapses on our part. We thought everything was normal, just like you people thought everything was normal, but everything is not normal. We need to work on it.
Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir's Chief Minister Omar Abdullah announced a relief package for survivors of the Pahalgam attack. His government said that it will provide rupees 10 lakh each to the families of those who lost their lives, rupees 2 lakh to those who sustained serious injuries, and rupees 1 lakh to those with minor injuries. People in Kashmir are mourning the death of 26 tourists. There are candlelight vigils, protests, and also slogans against the killings.